Hello YouTube. I'm gonna go over this build that I have and like how to do a much cheaper setup to get yourself just started with. So the first most important thing that you need to know is you don't need all these corrosions and things. To start off with, you can just buy yourself an uncorroded Ralph's Burial, 600 FE to buy someone's failed corrosion. You can buy yourself like a 9% Ralph's. You know, that's 300 FE. You can buy someone's failed corroded Surging Inspiration for 1k FE. If you want to be fancy, you can even get like this T0. You know, 1800 FE. Then for all your gear, just focus on getting priceless gear with T1 mods. You do not need T0 mods. You just want to get yourself priceless gear with T1 mods. Instead of Swift's Lightning here, you can run Peculiar Vibe or Impermanence. Both are really good. You can even run Winter if you want to, as your belt enchant. And for buying the gear, like you can literally just buy yourself bases that already have the ultimate mods T1 and just finish crafting it yourself. Like half-finished items tend to be very cheaply priced versus the, you know, how much it costs to get the mods on the items. And you know, you don't need an electrocute base. You can buy a timid ring. You can buy yourself an electrocute dreamcrafted neck as well. Then for Kismmets, you don't need Undetermined Fates. Just fill all of your Kismmets with Micro Fate Dexterity, and then the Medium Fate Dexterity. You don't need any of my ideal Kismmets that, you know, just get Dexterity to start off with. For pets, honestly, not a single one of these pets is required for the build. If you have like a free chest to choose from, I think Drapion Lady is like the nicest because it gives both damage and tankiness. But like, I don't know, none of these pets are really required. You can just use like purple and blue pets, you'll be fine. And then, here's what we're gonna do for our statues of the new god. We're gonna do a very budget setup. Now, you can play around with this and stuff, but essentially, the big thing that you need to realize is there's only 3 mods that are really important to get. Number Effect, Cast Speed per Dex, and Spell Crit. These are the only 3 really important these are the only really important max divinities that you need to get in the build. Okay? So, what we're gonna do, here's my budget setup, is you're going to get yourself a pedigree. Now for the pedigree, I would say literally just buy any pedigree of Continuum on it, and then any damage mod. There's so many second main talent damage mods that you can buy to go with Continuum, it doesn't have to be Insight. You're gonna buy yourself a Prairie. I do think getting a Prairie is really worth it.
Breakthrough just meowed.
Thank you for the sub, Breakthrough. Thank you, thank you. And you're gonna buy yourself a Moth, okay? And you're gonna get yourself a Moth, a Prairie, and a Pedigree. You know, Moths at the moment are 1.8k, they're pretty expensive. Prairies are 2.2k, so that's 4k for this. You can spend like 1k on your Pedigree of the Gods. You should overspend on your sites, they're the most important. And then what we're gonna do to fill this up now is we're gonna start off by buying ourselves a Dex corner. So we're gonna put in Dexterity, Corner of the Gods, or Corner of the Divinity. And you see like 320, 300 FE, like it's not too expensive. And we're gonna take this and just plop it down right here. That's a corner. Then we're gonna go to Divinity Sites, Goddess of Hunting. We're gonna have Dex on the bottom again, and we'll buy Cast Speed per Dex 1. Buy Cast Speed per Dex 1, 1500. These are kind of expensive right now. I've seen them listed for like 400, 500 FE. They do fluctuate a lot due to not having that much stock. But yeah, you're gonna get one of these for yourself, and you're gonna plop it down here. Okay? Now, what you can also do, if it is too expensive, is you can drop a Moth and buy yourself another corner with Dex on the bottom, and then fit in a Fallen Starlight with the cast speed on it. So like if you know, let's say there's no cast speed per Dex sites. Actually, I'll show you a bit later, okay? So we're gonna get cast speed per Dex and Dex on the bottom. We're gonna get Number Effect with Dex on the bottom. Where is that? What? Numb? Okay, there we go. I'm gonna get numb effect, 220 FE. And we're gonna fit this numb effect in right here. And just make it a big square. And then the last thing you're gonna get is a spell crit one. Spell crit, 450, 550, you know, nothing too bad. And you're just gonna take this and plop it down right here. You know, and if you do this setup, like this exact setup that I have here, this is gonna give you 135% dex. Now, what is important to know is you do need the dex on the bottom, and you should not brand any talent nodes because you want the prairie to copy the bottom talent, which is copying the dexterity over. But now, you did see, like, for example, the cast speed was kind of expensive, right? You know, like, there's no cheap ones listed right now. It's 1,500. That's quite a lot. Here's what you can do to circumvent that, okay? Let's just assume that this black one here, this, is the cast speed for dex one, right? Here's how we replace it. Okay? Here's how we replace it, okay? Instead of buying a cast speed for dex and dex slate, we buy ourselves another corner like this one. And we just plop the corner up here. And then instead of having a moth here facing upwards, we're just gonna go cast speed for dex, Fallen Starlight, 300 FE, 88 FE. You can even get yourself a second max divinity with this. You know, if there's another good max divinity to get in the build, you can look for it here and add that to the build. Like maybe you want to get Numb and cast it for dex. Okay, there's Numb. So be it. Maybe Mark Effect. And yeah. What you're going to do then is you're going to plop that Fallen Starlight, which we saw 80 FE for one, and you can put it right here. And if you do this setup, not only is it a lot cheaper, because you don't need the Moth, which is 2000 FE, but you're still getting 120% dex. This is like the super budget setup. So that's what we're going to do with the slates. It's really important to, you know, put a bit of money into slates, because it is a lot of your damage scaling. And then again, prices gear of T1s. We don't need corroded, legendaries. You don't need any T0 mods. Now, something important to note is you see that I have this mod, 30% chance to melee gain 2 stacks of spell burst, and then Beacon gives me 2 max spell burst. If you do not have the corrode, so you have a 30% chance to gain only 1 stack of spell burst, do not have Beacon, you need only 1 spell burst. This number right here, max spell burst, this should always be equal to whatever your helm has. So I have 2 on my helm, 2, this is 2. If my helm said 1, this would have to be 1 to get the maximum amount of damage, otherwise you are losing damage. So please just be aware of that. And Kismmets, full dex, legend pets not necessary. Is there anything else that's important for the build? Oh, candles. So what you want to do when you swap over is it's very important. Get yourself a candle that gives you a blessing when you trigger a skill. This is a very important candle mod to get. And get yourself a candle that lets you do 1 additional curse. Only use control spell if you have 100% crit, or at least like 95% crit, but ideally 100% crit with control spell equipped. So if we go here, damage, and we look at my crit chance, with control spell on, I have 100% spell crit. You know? And then, other than that, get yourself hero memories that have crit rating on them. If you can get crit damage too, that's nice. I would prioritize getting 80 crit rating as the base of the hero memory. And then you want to try and roll all of your hero memories for crit damage. So crit damage, crit damage, crit damage, crit damage, crit damage. Do not take flat damage, that is not good. We want crit damage or crit chance. Flat damage is a very bad mode to have in the hero memories. And Origin of Magus effect, that's also fine to take. It is worse in the end game, but like it gives a bit of leeway and stuff in the build, and it's kind of nice. And I think that should be everything. I think that does cover the full build. Let me know if you have any questions. I do think this build can work on a very low budget setup. In fact, you could probably swap to this build with only a Searching Inspiration and +1 spell burst on like a pedigree. But I've got a lot of questions from people like in Profound, at the 500 billion to 1 trillion DBS mark, asking about swapping to the build with like a budget setup. And since I made the build, the prices of everything has skyrocketed. For example, I got my Searching Inspiration for 5,000 FE. This burst activation support, this roll was 800 FE for me. It's now like 4,000. Also, with that being noted, for burst activation, you need burst activation in this build. You don't need to get a positive roll. It can be a negative roll. It's gonna suck a bit being a negative roll, but like it's not the end of the world. I'm sure that I'll still be, you could give me a complete min roll burst activation, I'll still be at 15 trillion damage. Cool. I hope that was helpful for everyone. Thank you so much for watching the video. Subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. And I'll see you guys over on Twitch. Goodbye!